Good morning and welcome to another edition of Let It Be Known. I am your host, Stacy Brown.
Peace and love and happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome. I'm your co-host, Neil Anderson, and lots of election news and breakdowns to talk about today, Stacy.
Well, it is. Well, we start with let's see what our producer has first.
Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up. We are breathing in the air of a city that has been reborn. I am young, despite my best efforts to grow older. I am Muslim. I am a democratic socialist. And most damning of all, I refuse to apologize for any of this. New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants. And as of tonight, led by an immigrant. So hear me, President Trump, when I say this. To get to any of us, you will have to get through all of us.
Well. It was. Go ahead,
I'm
Greer.
sorry, I gotta jump in here. I gotta say something with this one, okay? Because I got a testimony. I saw Niel out in the street last night with those young people. They were around the corner. One of the most inspiring things that I saw last night was when my daughter FaceTimed me, just happy because she was a part of this change that we're seeing right now. And now, it's not over. It's about to get ugly. But
Oh,
she
yeah.
was a part of this, right?
Mhm.
And so, but what that said to me, the calm that it brought me was something that I will remember because she is 22 years old, right? And at 22, she felt like she did something to fix the situation, right? And what I'll say is that for us and for especially for our generation, if all we are doing is teaching our children or encouraging them to do nothing but sweat, to just make money and not be a part of change, because I know that this moment, if nothing else, has inspired her. And young people did this. Young people did this in New York City and other places across yes, this is, people did this. They came out because but that was inspiring to me because we have a lot of criticism about that generation, right?
Mhm.
They are on the ground doing the work. And that's what, if we are not encouraging them to get involved with, then we are failing. It's not them that's failed, it is us. So it brought a sense of calm because, I felt like, listen, I gave myself a pat on the back for that one. And I'm gonna give that one to my mama because she had me in the streets, right?
Mhm.
And I passed that on to her. But I just wanted to say that and encourage this generation. They not lost. We got to give them a chance. That's all I had to say.
Well, listen, I've had the privilege of meeting Ruby a couple of times, and it doesn't surprise me. RNG says her generation will be the majority of voters in the next presidential election. Look, it was over by 8:30. This was over. The story was unmistakable. America had spoken not with a whisper, but with a roar. It swept through Richmond to Atlanta, Newark to New York, even down in the South. The nation said they had seen enough of the cruelty, the chaos, and the conspiracies that have marked this Trump year, less than a year too. But
Well, I think we could stay on Mendami for a minute before we even get to all what happened across the
mhm,
country because he stole the headline. You know, it was Prop 50, but Mendami did something, and I said it yesterday. It was reminiscent to what a Barack Obama did. Everything that Greer was just talking about was the same thing parents and grandparents were saying when Barack Obama said he wanted to run for president. And Mindami even gave Obama a nod when he said, "Tonight we have spoken in a clear voice." He said, "Hope is alive." That was a nod to Barack Obama because he had the audacity to hope that he could bring change. Mindami is totally reminiscent of that. Greer mentioned, you know, I was at USC yesterday afternoon and I was just overwhelmed by not just the long line to vote, but an even longer line for new voters. And so Mendami gives them the hope that they need. I think what Gavin Newsom did is critical in Prop 50, and we'll get into that. But yesterday's election belonged to Zoran Mendami.
well, there were people who said they would leave New York, and I saw some great memes about that people saying that they will direct traffic for people to leave New York if they want to leave. But um, as Greer mentioned too, the one of the tidbits she mentioned is there's going to be some hard times now. There's going to be some serious times now because you know that Russell Vaught, Stephen Miller, Donald Trump, and Steve Bannon and the likes are in the lab. They are going to attack New York like never before. I'm pretty sure Mamdami, gosh, I usually say his name right. And I'm pretty sure Governor Hochul, and they're prepared and have been preparing, unlike so many other people who don't prepare. But let me not get into that. But they've been preparing, and it's going to be interesting. You know, he's going to unleash things on New York. He's already threatening to withhold funding from New York, federal funding for certain things that the federal government usually provides to cities. Um, it's going to be problems in New York.
Yeah, but until we get to those problems, let's talk about some of the other
Yeah, we got those
successful
problems
wins.
now.
Let's
What do
talk
you
about
mean
the
until we
other
get to those?
successful wins
Oh
that
my
happened
gosh.
yesterday with election night. We have Atlanta Mayor Andrew Dickens
Oh,
takes an easy.
we can't just gloss over things though. We can't just gloss over stuff.
Well, I mean, we had a historic election
Yeah,
yesterday.
okay, it's like, but the thing is, okay, but we have to be realistic. We have to be realistic about stuff. It's not a downer. It's the facts. The fight is just begun. It's not won.
Okay.
And but yeah, but I was getting it. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just talking about, you know, there is going to be a fight, but
Mhm.
yesterday's victories is going to help hold the line. The individuals that were elected into office yesterday, they're going to be the ones to be the front line for the fight.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, like, you know, Andrew Dickens in Atlanta, you know, that water denial of shut off and no evictions until January 31st. I think that
Mhm.
helped push him over the limit. He won by 86%.
Mhm.
Then we have historic Mary Sheffield becomes Detroit's first woman mayor. Okay. Let's go to Georgia, back to Georgia, where Dems win
All of that
first.
was my stuff. I mean, golly. Go
Uh,
ahead.
Sherry Owens, the first Black mayor of Syracuse. Dorsey Aprelis, the first Black mayor of
Mhm.
Albany. Majority of California, 62% say yes to Prop 50. Christian Menifee and Amanda Edwards head to a runoff in Texas 18th congressional district. How about Alvin Bragg, who prosecuted Donald Trump? He
Mhm.
wins re-election. We talked about Mendami, But there, Michelle Wu elected the second term as Boston mayor. I mean, the list goes on and on. Vile Lyles, reelected mayor of Charlotte, North Carolina. You have Leo Williams, a millennial, reelected as mayor of Durham. You have Barbara Middleton, reelected mayor of North Carolina. Irvin Allen, elected Greensboro, North Carolina City Council at Large, millennial. Kim Thomas, reelected mayor of Richmond Heights, Ohio. Sam Foster, a millennial, elected mayor of Marietta. How about Quentin Hart, reelected mayor of Waterloo, Iowa? Beverly Burks, reelected mayor of Clarkston, Georgia. I mean, the list goes on and on. And so that's what I'm saying to your response of what Donald Trump is going to do. People were elected yesterday on state and local levels to hold the front line. So that was my response to what you were saying, Stacey. There is hope, like Mandami said.
I will add, only thing I will add from that point is that for those who claim that black voters have abandoned the Democratic Party, they were totally rebuked. That argument went out the window yesterday, especially in New York, but other places too. But in New York, since we were talking about Mamdani, exit polling showed that he was up by plus 26 with black voters, just plus 4 with Asians, but plus 20 with Hispanics. Of course, he was minus 14 with white folks. Mikey Sherrill had 91% of the black vote in New Jersey and 64% of the Hispanic vote. Prop 50 we'll get to, but black folks did indeed, based on exit poll and turnout, for Prop 50 as well. But to say that, and we've had folks in our chat who claim to be certain kinds of black folks who said that black folks had abandoned the Democratic Party. They didn't show that yesterday at all. Last night, black folks turned up.
And I was one of those black folks that voted and turned up. And to your point, after all was said and done, Zeron's best racial group ended up being black folks.
91%.
Black folks were the ones that showed up for him.
Not 91. I'm sorry, not 91%. It was something like 80-something%, but still, it was big.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, Jersey's governor's race, Mikey Sorrell, she got 91% of the black vote. And then Orangey says you had to be high as the moon to vote for the black lady in Virginia.
You gonna make me choke, Orange.
She was upset because Abigail Spanberger, the winner, did not return her messages. I wouldn't return her messages either. This woman is, as RG said, she is crazy. And she, even Donald Trump abandoned her. Well, she failed to realize from the jump, she's a black woman. She wasn't getting his support anyway.
Oh, he didn't endorse her?
No, he did not endorse her. He stayed far away from that crazy woman. I've never seen somebody run for office like that. I mean, Herschel Walker was just ignorant. He wasn't crazy. He was ignorant. This woman was absolutely crazy.
Yeah, well, hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more.
Yeah, even in Mississippi, it was. So this is, we talk about what the Democrats, this blue, more than a blue wave, blue ocean, but really when you win, when Mississippi is able to break the Republican stronghold there, the Republican supermajority, and win some races in Mississippi, when in Miami and Orlando, you got Democrats winning there too. Georgia, of course. It tells you this is about, Donald Trump tweeted that it wasn't about, he said Trump wasn't on the ballot. Trump was very much on the ballot. And that's what this was really about. And I tell you what, there was something else too that really, really put the exclamation point on this. Voters in what was it, Minneapolis, I believe it was, or was
Mhm.
it Michigan or Minneapolis? Colorado. I'm sorry. Voters in Colorado approved the ballot measure that would raise state income taxes on higher earning households to do what? To fund free meals for all public school students. That to me is a period exclamation point on this is all about. This election was all about Donald Trump. He's withholding food and SNAP and other benefits from folks, and he's giving all of these breaks to billionaires. This Colorado bill, this that the voters approved 100% almost, this ballot measure is going to raise the state income taxes on higher earning millionaires, billionaires to fund the lower income. And that, folks, is what it's, to me, what really sells this as, or puts a period on the fact that this is against Donald Trump.
So yeah, so when you were asking like don't glance over it, it's not a glance over, it's a response. That was the response to, yeah, we're going to be headed towards some hard times, but yesterday was what the American people were saying, that we're building our front line on the opposite side. And I don't think that Democrats should start tap dancing. I don't think Democrat leadership should
They
get
need to
too
stop tap
excited.
dancing.
They need to really, pay attention to where this wasn't about Democrats winning. This was about resisting Donald Trump. If it could have been other candidates, I think that Democrats would have been in trouble. So they really need to read the temperature. I saw Hakeem Jeffries, celebrating. This wasn't really a celebration for Democrats. He didn't even support Mendami until the ninth inning.
Until he
This was
realized Mandami
about
was going to
this
win. Let's
was
face it.
about this was about
Let's
this was
face it.
about people resisting Donald Trump. No party affiliation needed.
And as RNG said, he said, listen, black people all show up. It is the white people who have to get their feelings hurt in order to get off their butt. It's true. They got their feelings hurt. And we've seen all year long these folks in videos and everything else. I didn't think it was essentially saying, I didn't think he was going to do this to us. I didn't think we was going to feel it like they feel it. So they did. They got their feelings hurt, RNG. White folks did.
Yeah. White folks that support Trump got their
Yeah.
feelings hurt.
And Claudette Perry says Trump said last week that he is closing down all Democratic programs. He seems to think that feeding people through SNAP and helping through other federal programs are Democratic programs. That tells you how ignorant that so and so is. Right, and that's what I mean by the Colorado ballot measure that passed there. It was a total rebuke of Donald Trump.
Yeah, for sure.
Everything else that everything
Yeah,
else you mentioned is, and you're
yeah.
right. You're 100% right. This is more of we're tired of Donald Trump than it is we're for Democrats.
Right. Yeah, totally. And so I hope that they, because Democrats are taking credit for this and talking about they hit the college campuses and they, heated conversation last night with somebody from the party. And I'm like, yeah, congratulations to Democrats, but don't take credit for something that people are pissed off about. We're
Right.
just sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Oh, here we go.
In the words of Fannie Lou Hamer, we
Here we-
are. And so we want the Democrats to do better. They're all we have right now, but don't get too excited. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That's why I'm glad that Mendami said I'm a socialist Democrat, because
Mhm.
that is some internal reckoning and conversations that the party is going to have to deal with, because these young kids, I really do believe these young kids that was wrapped around the corner at USC, that's the type of pool that is going to support a candidate like a Mendami.
Yeah, and the question is, Neil, can this can this ride through next year? Next year is the most crucial, right? But you're right. Democrats can't, as you put, tap They shouldn't be tap dancing. But you're right. They can't really take all the credit, or they can't take much of the credit. I mean, Greer talked about the young ones. They deserve the majority of the credit. The Mamdamis of the world deserve the credit. The Democrats as a whole, because you mentioned Hakeem. He at the very last minute, when he realized, well, he's in my party, and blah blah blah. That was an endorsement that Mandami probably could have done without, to be honest, right?
I
He
don't
was
think
going to
as a
win.
candidate you never, turn away and
You don't
endorse
turn it away,
somebody of
but it
that
was like,
nature. You
right,
take it.
right. But it wasn't gonna make a difference at that point. Mandami had rode that wave. Mandami had done. You talked about Obama, and he's as close to his campaign. I'm not saying he as the person, as the politician, but his campaign was as close to Obama as we've seen, as Obama's campaign as we've seen.
Hmm.
And Prop 50. I mean, that's your baby out there in California, but it helps everybody.
Yeah, it does help everybody, but like I say, Mandami took the thunder away from that. I mean, even when you look at and I think Governor Gavin Newsom, he's like, wait a minute, I thought I was at the forefront of this thing. And now you have somebody like a Mandami who has garnered national attention. Okay, folks is paying attention. When his speech came on last night, it was electrifying. And you okay, what you talking about? Let me hear what you're saying.
Mhm.
And then, a room full of young people, so much energy. And then you go to Gavin Newsom, and it's just him and his wife. And it's like politics as usual. And I think that's what the American people, these young folks, are tired of.
Hakeem Jeffries has gotten a lot of nicknames, including Apex Shakur, but we got somebody in the chat, Mr. K, whatever your name is, my brother. Hakeem Last Minute Jeffries is what he called. Some
Well,
RNG, I'm saying the same thing. Where is Black Mag? I don't see him on the chat today. Where they at?
put it, sometimes being at the last minute, is sufficient. But I think our guest is here, and I think that
But
we
she has a clip first, though.
Oh, she has a clip. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's check out the clip and then we'll bring our guest in.
And then the perfect response by Zoran Mamdani.
Do you see Mamdani as the future of the Democratic Party?
No, I think the future of the Democratic Party is going to fall, as far as we're concerned, relative to the House Democratic Caucus and members who are doing a great work all across the country as it relates to our need to both take back control of the House, but in doing so, make sure that we're communicating to the American people like, we understand you deserve better.
And
Mm.
The
All
future of the
right.
Democratic Party. He said no.
Good to know.
Do you have a response?
No, I'm focused on the next two.
There we have it. All right. Let it be known, family. Joining us now, a state representative, Karen D. Camper. She leads the Black Legislative Leaders Network, and she's Tennessee's first African-American woman to lead a caucus in the state's General Assembly. Welcome, Representative Camper.
Yes, you have to come off mute, Representative Camper.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Uh-oh.
Yes. So yesterday we were talking about a blue wave. What's your response to the election results?
Well, I'm excited about it. I think it's a sign of where we are in our country right now. People are kind of tired of these Trump policies, and I think I heard one of you say earlier that he talked a lot of stuff before and didn't do it, but this time he did. And people are, concerned about the future of the country. So I think they came out, they voted in a way to show a sign of how we want to shift policy.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm sorry, Representative Camper. Your audio is not coming through.
I hear her. I mean, she doesn't have a mic, but I do hear her audio. You don't hear her at all?
I'm just hearing like, I'm not hearing her now. Yeah, maybe we maybe Representative Camper, can you maybe go out and come back in?
I'll do that, yes.
That would be awesome. Uh, yeah, I don't think, yeah, Greer wasn't picking her up either, Niel. And yeah, audience is not picking her up. Dr. Marilyn says she can't hear either. But hopefully we can get that fixed. It'd be great to hear what she has to say. I'm sure she has a lot to say. Um, but until then, Neo, tell us a little bit more about how. I mean, we had a guest on yesterday about Prop 50. How did it all come about? I mean, they did it the right way, right? That so nobody can really challenge how they're doing their redistricting.
Right. No, 100%. I mean, the turnout was great. Like I said, you saw a lot of people understanding how many how significant this was to democracy at large. So you had 62% yes, 38% no. And of course, 85% of Democrats voted for it. 60% of independents voted for it, and then you had 22% of Republicans that voted for
Oh
a
wow.
yes on Prop 50. And with that all being said, we know that Governor Westmore has announced that he is doing a redistricting commission. And so you see this happening across the country now, because we know North Carolina, Indiana, Texas, they're all redistricting for Trump. And so now you see the enthusiasm of leadership. And I'm glad you're back, leader camper, because that's what we're talking about. We were talking about earlier in the show how this movement is happening at a state and local level. And what happened yesterday is you saw state and local people being elected that represent a no to Donald Trump. And can you talk about how having like state legislators and local, mayors, how this will help resist Donald Trump in your leadership capacity?
Hopefully, my sound is a little bit better. Is that
Much
Yes.
better, much better.
okay? Thank you for that advice for going out and coming back in. Yeah, well, so if you can remember, after President Obama was elected, the Republican National Committee decided that they were going to push everything to a state level when they knew they would not get the White House for at least 8 years. So they started pushing their agenda to the state level, which is fine because again, politics are local. So what I believe is true is now that this current administration is doing the same in terms of funding of how he's cut stuff at the federal level. It is empowering state legislators. It is empowering people in local communities to say, wait a minute, this is my government. I do have a voice. Because before people would just say, oh, that's the federal government. It doesn't matter to me. It won't affect my life anyway. So now I think people are feeling more empowered and more a part of their government, and that they do have a say and they want to have a say. So it helps us at the local level to get people energized about being a part of politics, being civically engaged. So I think it's a good thing that's happening.
Mhm. We were Representative Camper, Leader Camper. We were talking about this blue wave, if you will, blue ocean, as some described it. But one of the things, and Neil mentioned this, and I totally agree, is that Democrats can't necessarily take the credit here. It's really people who are rebuking. And rebuking and puking about what they're seeing. I mean, what is your view on that?
I actually think it's a little of both, to be honest with you. I think people are, as I was saying before, recognizing what President Trump is all about. And that before he talked a lot of rhetoric and maybe didn't move on it, but he is moving on the rhetoric. He is moving on it. He is doing things that are very on the edge of what some people say, taking away our democracy. People get scared. And now with the closure of government, which they've already said they don't like government anyway. They've had those, they've taken people out, they have no respect for it. So I think a lot of it is that. But I also think that the messaging that Democrats have right now in terms of real world issues for people's in their home, at their kitchen table, at the grocery store, filling up my tank. that message is resonating with people. So I think it's kind of a combination of both. I'm not going to give full credit to either, but I do feel that with this wave, we can learn from it. We can learn what worked. We can go and talk to people, which I'm a big proponent of. Talking to people and understanding where are they in their life and what is it we can do to help you and look at your concerns, because believe me, you're not the only one. There are a lot of people who feel the way that you do. So once you get and talk to people and recognize what they're going through and you start to build policy around it, I think that's what moves people. And I think a lot of that is happening right now in our country.
As a state legislator that leads Tennessee, the conversation about SNAP is going back and forth. Even within the White House, you have the press secretary saying we're going to get partial payments, and then you have Trump tweeting, no, nobody's getting anything. So, how is Tennessee dealing with making sure as the holiday season approaches us that your constituents are going to receive the resources that they need to survive? Is there any plan within the state legislators to provide SNAP? How are you guys handling that?
Well, our governor has jumped on the Trump bandwagon, has come with the same rhetoric that you're hearing from federal government. Schumer led, da 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 da, Democrat led, da da da. And I'm saying, well, if you allow one man to lead you to a place you don't want to go, then that's a problem. And I tried to have this conversation with the governor here, but he is on the same kind of mindset. So what he's decided to do is to push for our local food banks to do more, the faith-based community to do more, and initially didn't really give additional funding to them. Now we do fund our food banks and stuff like that in our regular budget. We were called for him to do more. So he announced yesterday that he was going to put, I think, $5 million in our food banks, which is not really enough. But let me just tell you what I'm seeing happening. People are coming to the rescue of people. People are deciding we're going to help. We're going to, in all of our local organizations like our OES chapters, our Masonic lodges, our sororities, everybody is coming to the table. A lot of nonprofits groups here in our region of the state, which has a lot of extreme poverty. And a lot of organizations are just doing everything that they can to leverage what they have, to help population. But this governor is on the same sheet of music as the federal government. And, we've had our leadership call for a special session. We've said, hey, there's something, do like Louisiana, do an executive decision and declare the state of emergency, which would allow him to do more. But he's resistant. He really don't want to do more. And neither does the Republican leader or the Republican caucus chairman. I talked to them last week. They're following the same rhetoric that's coming from the federal level.
You said same sheet of music. I guarantee it's not a hit record, right?
It's not a hit record. Maybe after last night things have changed here in Tennessee. We've been urging him. Well, I mean, both our caucus put out a joint statement again yesterday. Urging him to do more, urging him to bring us. Our rainy day fund is at $2.2 billion right now, which is about 9% of our budget, which is, if you look at where quote unquote Wall Street say you should be, we're doing very good. 8% is what they're saying. And this governor is trying to get to 10%. We're at 9% now. There are funding available. Additionally, what I recommended to him, if you don't want to come into a special session, you don't want to tap into the rainy day fund, there are some discretionary funds across all departments. I mean, we got TANF that can do more. We got so many dollars out there where we can pull together in an all hands on deck scenario and help. But he don't want to do it.
Of course not. Let me ask you this: with again, we're talking about this blue wave, but on the federal level, does it inspire in you any confidence that Republicans in the House are now going to be a little bit more afraid, and they may be more willing now to say, let's try and put it into this shutdown. Let's try and do what's right here and give folks back their paychecks, give folks back their SNAP. Does that what happened last night inspire any confidence that might happen?
I don't know. I would hope so.
Mhm.
I think our politics have gotten so polarized and so politicized because I don't think SNAP should be a political issue, but
Right.
they politicize the issue. And oftentimes, when you go down this road of politicization, people don't want to stop. They want to keep going. They don't want to compromise. It becomes a dirty word. But I
Even out
do.
of fear, I'm sorry, even out
Go
of
ahead.
fear of what happens next, what could happen to these Republicans on the Hill
I,
next
I
year?
I think yes, because I think they're going to start strategizing now on what to do to counter that. That's
Mhm.
why, you know what I'm saying, it gives them time. I'm hoping that's not the case. I hope that there are some. I mean, well, we look at Fetterman. I'm upset with him.
Oh gosh,
If we're going to
another Joe Manchin.
yeah, if you're going to talk about what the Republicans may or may not do, let's let our own do what is right. Okay.
Right, right.
So maybe that's a message to him. And maybe with that, some of the moderates, can come together and say, hey, guys, look, let's get to the table. Let's talk. But they don't. I'm just telling you, anything that's related to Obama, they want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And they
Sure.
just don't like, quote unquote, Obamacare, even though their people love it
Mm-hmm.
and use it and need it. So I don't have a sense of it right now. I think we got to dig into. I have a guy to dig into the numbers, and he kind of digs a little deeper below the surface. I'd like to hear from him what he thought he heard in the analysis of the voters that did turn out based on who these voters are that participated this time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Tennessee, federal workers are impacted in Tennessee. Your airports are impacted. Another story that, Donald Trump kind of throws something out there and then we don't hear about it again until maybe 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 weeks later. And one of those things, we're sending the National Guard to Memphis, Tennessee. Where is that situation at right now? Is the National Guard there? I mean, is ICE there? What is happening in Memphis right now, and how are you guys handling that?
Yes, yes, and yes. He said it. They did. They're here. Um, our governor obviously supported it initially back in August. He was not kind of like, no, no, but now he's like, yeah, yeah. Um, I think, similarly to how President Trump functions with threats and I'll withhold your funding, I'll do all these things. In this past year's budget, we had appropriated $100 million for crime safety, crime prevention, safety, etc., which preponderance of it was coming to Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another pot, about 75 million, to help reduce crime and etc., etc. I think this governor probably used that to say to this mayor, okay, we can withhold these funds or you could get on board with us coming to Memphis.
Oh
And,
wow.
and this mayor, has said, I don't want, he's not with it. He's not with it, but he understands what could possibly happen. Now,
Mm.
so we have a county mayor, we have a city mayor. Both are against them being here, but what the city mayor has done is try to say at least those that come, let them be a representation of the population that we need to help us move our city forward. Meaning, if you have military police who can help us in our crimes, in our economic crimes unit, let's get that population because the National Guard is a reflection of the population. So he was trying to be strategic in the type of people within the guard that comes. On the county side, they filed a lawsuit like, no, this is not right. It's unconstitutional. It's against Tennessee, Constitution. That lawsuit is being heard now in court. So we have to see how that lawsuit comes out. So one is trying to make it work based on what has happened, and the other has filed a lawsuit.
Mm.
And the people are kind of, the people are they want the safety task force. It was just this National Guard presence that created
Right.
this whole problem. But there are some people like, well, I if it's gonna help, why not bring them? Then you got some like, what? This is no state of emergency. Why are they here?
Right.
Why are they walking down the street with our children with guns and stuff? So we got people on both sides of it.
Mm.
Wow. So what's the conversation today that you plan to really have with your fellow Democrats there in Tennessee about strategy?
Well, this is the thing that I believe is true about our caucus, and then with any caucus, to be honest, we have people that have a tremendous amount of expertise and strengths. We're going to have to strategically use every strength that every member have. We talk about having a big tent. And in Tennessee, you actually need that big tent in order to move us out of this super minority that we're in. So everyone that have whatever relationships they have to bring them to the table. Whatever your expertise is, we have got to allow that member or those members to use it for the good of everybody. If you are a young Turk and we need you everywhere young Turks are, that's where we're sending you. If you are that conservative guy that's been in those rural areas, there are conservative Democrats that's on the bench. I need you to go get them.
Right.
So wherever you are in this state, people will say we have three grand divisions, and each one of them is almost like a different state. They're so different. But wherever you are, whatever your expertise is, whatever your strength is, we're coming together to pull that in a way that no one feels offended because somebody else is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody will be leveraged, wherever corner of this state. Now, our retreat is coming up next Monday, as a matter of fact. And this is definitely the dialogue that I want to have with them, because we have got to get to a place where we can function under operational unity, where we do not have to agree on every single thing before we can move forward. We have one big picture and one big focus, and everybody that have everything that they have. If you don't feed this, we're not doing it. If it's not feeding into this, we're not doing it. You can do it on the side, but not as a caucus. So that's the conversation I'm going to have with my members on Monday when we go in, and leader Agberry on the Senate side the same.
I love it. Another big conversation and people are concerned about is travel. We know that the Secretary of Transportation is talking about, flights, expect more flight cancellations, and, trouble at airports if the shutdown continues. Looking at your state, Tennessee, and the airports and the air traffic controllers that are impacted, the TSA workers, is Tennessee, the state, doing anything to kind of help the federal workers, and what are they doing about travel in your state?
I would say not as far as I know, not as a strategic plan. We were hit initially. We kind of were when the president was back and forth with Canada and these tariffs, and we were tit for tat in that. Well, a lot of our import export exchange is with Canada. A lot of flights come in. We have tons of flights to come in from Canada, and we saw an immediate drop off of those flights. I mean, they went down tremendously because this was so. There was some talk there. We sending liaisons up to kind of have this whole conversation with Canada, but now things have gotten so much worse with the closure and all these other things. I'm sure I would say that I could believe that the deputy governor in particular he's a strategist, is probably trying to put something together. There's nothing that's been talked openly about it with our caucus anyway. It may be with their caucus, but not with our caucus. But again, this governor is supporting whatever it is the administration wants. So that would lead me to say probably not. I mean,
Wow.
it's unfortunate, and Nashville particularly is, both are international airports, but it's a huge hub for Southwest. I mean, it is a huge hub for a lot of people coming and going.
Right.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see when we come back in. I have not had a conversation with the transportation commissioner. We have a new commissioner now, the former commissioner who had a great relationship with. Retired and moved on. So we have a new guy that I need to have a conversation with.
One of regular viewers, David Youngblood, is asking, what's going on with the Cohen congressional seat?
Oh, Congressman Cohen's congressional seat. So he's asking that question because one of our state representatives, and you all probably know Representative Justin Pearson, one of Tennessee 3, has is planning to enter primary to run against Representative Cohen.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's putting his team together. He's looking at. He's already announced. So he's raising money and all of that. So this here again, this will be kind of what the conversation is right now nationally about where is the future of the party? Is it the old guard? Is it the new guard coming in? And where are we? I think that this race would be will be telling.
Right.
This is one of those that will be telling. Congressman Cohen has been there probably 20 coming up on 20 years now, and representative have challenged him to say, hey, it's time to move forward. It's time for you to allow some young blood, some new energy to come in, new thought, new vision. So that's kind of what's going on with that race. Of course, Cohen is in a position where he's saying, look, when we flip this thing, you're gonna need somebody in leadership. You're gonna need somebody that could be, become a chairman to help really get things done for Memphis, for Tennessee, for the country. Instead of starting anew, let's stay here where you got somebody that you're not starting over from day one. You have somebody to understand that this is a very critical time for us right now. You need somebody that can negotiate and get things done. So he's thinking like that he's in a position where he'll have a chairmanship. He'll be able to really get some things done, pull down funds for Memphis, for Shelby County, state of Tennessee. He has relationships, so he's thinking about it like that.
Yeah, and that's the ongoing conversation.
Yep.
That's why Jasmine Crockett didn't get the seat that she wanted. And that's the internal conversation. Like maybe this whole tenured system that Congress works on needs to be rethought, and just like the Supreme Court. We're going to talk about that. But before we let you go, we're excited to be building this relationship with the Black Legislative Leaders Network, having state electeds come on and talk about what's happening in their states and communities. So before we let you go, tell our viewers about what the Black Legislative Leaders Network is all about and what we can expect to hear.
Thank you so much for that. Well, when I became a minority leader in 2018, I recognized that, Blacks are rising in leadership in these state houses now. For a long time, we were not in leadership. We were there, Black Caucus, but we were not really in leadership in a major way. And so, particularly in the red states, we're seeing that Blacks are rising in leadership. But there was no real network for just leaders. We have the National Black Caucus of State Legislators. That's all the Black legislators we do, and it's great. We have national organization, Black elected legislative women. I'm a former president, so I get it. But you need a place where leaders can come together and be groomed as leaders, to have a network where they can call each other and be a support for each other. So Jasper and I decided we would start the Leaders Network. We actually went to one organization to get them to just kind of maybe have a leg under them that did that. They didn't see it. So we said, well, we make our own. So we started the Black Legislative Leaders Network, and it's been going for about 5 years now, and it is phenomenal. When we started, we had 3 speakers, Black speakers. Now we up to 7, 8, almost 9 Black speakers of houses, and Senate presidents, where they need a network for each other so that they can be strong in their leadership. And if I'm experiencing something in Tennessee that you're experiencing in North Carolina, we need to know about it so we can help each other. And even as far as maybe having an agenda that the Leaders Network can come up with, where we are affecting the lives of Black people across this country as a group. So we created this organization to allow us to learn, teach, fortify, and build each other up in these leadership positions. I remember when Talbot became the speaker in Maine. They have term limits. So she was thrusted into leadership where we had to dispatch somebody to go up there, set up our office, set up the people that's going to be, so that she feel comfortable her day one in legislating and being in charge of her house. So it's been phenomenal. Everybody loves it. We have great programming. Matter of fact, we'll be in depending on the flights, we'll be in Washington. We'll be in Washington the 18th, 19th, and 20th, because the National Council, a conference of state legislators, will be up there, and we usually join another national organization when they're meeting. We join them and we work in parallel with them to get more Black legislators to some of these events. And we have a tour of the White House scheduled Actually, we got a meeting in the White House with some of the Trump administration.
Oh boy, don't kiss the ring now. Don't kiss the ring.
Can't wait to hear
No,
about that.
we got to be able to say to these people,
That's right.
you have to have a conversation. They have to know it's real. You have to be. You can't be so that I'm not going because. No, I'm going because.
Right.
You can't say when nobody told me. Yes, somebody did. So we have to go and be able to say these things and let the White House know there is an agenda for Black people that you need to know, understand, and appreciate. So yeah, we're going.
I love it. Okay. Well, we can't wait to have more conversations with Black legislators. And thank you to you and Jasper for helping put this together. So we'll be
Yes.
talking to you soon.
Thank you. And thank you all so much. I
You.
appreciate the time with you.
All right.
No,
Peace and
it was a
love.
privilege. Thanks. I like her.
Yeah, lots to talk about. I'll do want to go one for one. I know you have some more feel good stories to talk about, but I think this falls in line to what we were talking about. Former U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder is saying the Supreme Court should be a part of the national conversation heading into 2028. Now, he called the court a broken institution and said that if Democrats were to control the White House, the Senate, and the House in 2028, the Supreme Court needs reform, and that includes term limits and structural changes should be considered. And that's kind of like what Project 2025 was. It was for thinking in the future. And so I think former Attorney General Eric Holder is right on point. We should be thinking about what are we going to do with the Supreme Court, because it is fractured
That
and
that has to
non-functioning.
be it has to be an issue going into the 20, like you said, 2028. It must be.
Right. Like what is our answer to Project 2025? And I think this definitely should be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Monique is continuing her crusade, if you will. She's vowed to continue speaking out against Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey, saying she won't stop until both publicly acknowledge and apologize for what she claims was damage done to her career and her reputation. She recently reiterated her stance on the 85 South show and Outlaw with T.S. Madison podcast, accusing the pair of staying silent for years about their role in her fallout with Hollywood. She says she seeks accountability, and she declared that until Tyler and Oprah fixes it, she will not stop, because that's how the monster is created. And she's long claimed that Tyler Perry, in particular, privately admitted to mishandling his role in her career, but never corrected the public narrative that painted her as difficult. And when they paint Black women as difficult, it's game, set, match.
Sometimes Black women are difficult, though.
Listen, what they did to Monique is just it's almost unforgivable. They should,
What did they
I
do
mean, they
to
should be
her?
ashamed of
What did they do to
that.
her?
What they didn't do to her, what they did to her was cost her millions and millions of dollars, like she said, and as Tyler Perry admitted, calling her difficult, blackballing her. She wasn't able to work. I think it's so bad to treat anybody like that, but Black people to treat these Black power folks to treat a Black woman that way, and it was simply because of her decision during the Precious movie. She wanted to be paid to go travel and promote, and they didn't want her to be paid. Okay,
Or
you have
maybe
a
they didn't
difference.
have the budget to pay her what she wanted.
That's not her point. Her point is that's fine, but don't blackball me because I wouldn't go on your promotional tours. That's just awful, awful, awful. The story is it's not a new story. It's what's new is that she's come out again and has said that until she gets that apology, she's just not going to forgive him, and I don't blame her.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in the comedy world, I know a lot of people. I mean, and it depends on who you talk to about Monique. Some people say she is difficult. And so, I mean, I'm not saying that she's not validated by what she said, but I mean, it just depends on who you talk to about Monique.
I will leave it at that. I'm not here to defend her, but I do know that from what we've seen over the years, including Steve Harvey and his you know jig dancing with her, it was horrible. What you saw it, and Harvey knew it, and they all knew it, and what they did to her was unthinkable. We we have a responsibility in a sense, and we wouldn't do that. They have not, there's no record of them doing it to white folks. Why do it to your own?
Well, and to to that point, there's so many stories about how oh Tyler Perry has looked out for Black women. I mean, he has a laundry list of Black women who say, you know, and I'm talking about like soap opera actresses that fell off the grid. They talk about how much money and paying them, not like just paying them what they're worth, paying people what they're worth. So I just think that, it just depends on, who's mad, how long you mad, differences of creative, opinions. Sometimes you don't have the budget to really pay what somebody would want. Look at Holly Berry and Monsters Ball. She wasn't paid the way she should have been paid, but she was an Academy Award winning actress. She don't have no problem with it. So I just think it depends. I'm not saying she's right or wrong. I'm just saying that
No,
there
I
are two
get it.
sides to every story. When you talk to Black women and how Tyler Perry treats Black women, I think for every Monique, there's 10 Black women that have a different story.
I have not heard the 10, but I'm not
I can
I'm
count
not
10.
doubting you.
I can count 10.
Okay.
I can
Count
count 10.
them.
You have
You
Angie
sound like you
from
want to
All
count
My Children.
them.
You have who she just got married to Jonathan Majors. What's my
Hmm.
girl's name? Love her.
Megan.
Megan. You have Taraji P. Henson. You have Gabrielle Union. You have Scandal, Kerry Washington. The I could continue to go on, but they all talk about how Tyler Perry pays them what they're worth. And that's for a lot of them, that's the first time that's ever happened to where they broke tears. He was like, I'm not paying you, you know, something that I feel like you don't deserve. And so I just feel
Mhm.
like, maybe, she had a bad experience. And a lot of time you blackball yourself in the industry by your behavior.
Mhm. Okay.
That's all I'm
What
saying.
else you
Sherry
got?
Shepard is another one. He showed up for her this week for her Hollywood Walk of Fame star. And so, I
Mhm.
mean, and
Okay.
I'm telling you, in the comedy world, Monique doesn't have the best reputation. And
Mhm.
so, I'm just saying.
All right. All right. All right. What else you
but
got?
oh no, we had some they were still talking about the Supreme Court in the chat. Oh, well, Black Virginia News says always unhappy. That was talking about Monique, I'm assuming.
Mhm.
David Youngblood said you must expand the number of seats to 13. Black Virginia News says she's difficult and always has been. Michelle Carter says one thing you could say about Monique, she's consistent.
Michael Carter. Michael Carter.
Michael Carter, yeah. And then so I mean you could go on and on about the situation. So I
Yeah,
mean,
you can. And listen, I don't think that there's a reason for black folks to ban or to blackball other black folks ever. However,
I don't think she was
however,
blackballed though. I really don't. I think
well,
her behavior dictated what happened to her.
okay. Well, she believes she was, right? So I just don't. I think that if that's, let me say it that way. Then, if that's the case, then there's no explanation needed. There's no excuses for that. Is what I'm saying. No excuses. I've heard the same things. I've heard Monique being very difficult, but I've also heard that what she is saying is true. And like I said, Tyler Perry did admit that he did that to her. He did admit it. Oprah has not, but Tyler has.
So what more does she want from him?
Well, he didn't publicly admit it. So there you
But we
go.
know about
I
but
don't
we know
know,
about it. But we
but
know
we
about
know
it.
about it. Yeah. Listen, if I was in her position, I'd probably be bitter too. So I mean, they call it, whatever the situation, whether it was her attitude with them or their attitude with her, it cost her millions of dollars. So I'd be bitter too. So I'm not taking that away from Monique. But to your point, there are people who find her difficult to deal with and won't deal with her.
Yeah. So I think she's touring. She's still touring. She's gone on tour with Cat Williams. So she's out there making her money on the comedy scene for sure. But just a couple of HBCU headlines. Our ally, Mackenzie Scott, has done it again. She gifted Howard University 63 million to the whole school and 17 million for its rare HBCU based medical school, which brings Scott's total to over 3 million in recent weeks. 300 million.
300 million.
300 million in recent weeks alone. Now that's what you call an ally.
Somebody posted about this. Somebody said, "Man, she really hates Jeff Bezos." Because the moment she broke free from him, she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna show you how we're supposed to treat
People.
black folks."
Yeah, and the parallel of watching him and his wife travel all around
Right.
the country and dropping these, I'm getting rid of 100,000 jobs and using robots, and
Exactly.
she's constantly, showing charity. It's interesting. And then in more HBCU news, Snoop Dogg is really trying to make amends with the
Oh
queer
gosh.
community. He has partnered with GLAAD to bring HIV awareness to HBCU campuses. His first stop was Jackson State University, and he told the students, "A disease shows no prejudice. The best thing you could do is get protected and find more information." And we know, he caught a lot of flack for taking his grandchild to see a movie, and it had two mothers in it, and he said something. But ever since then, he has partnered up with GLAAD, and he's like, "I'm all about the queer community. I'm gonna put it in my cartoons. I love y'all. I didn't mean no harm."
Snoop doing the biggest retreat in the history of retreating. That dude. Oh my, and getting paid.
And getting paid. I'm getting paid to do it, okay?
Oh gosh. Yeah, he has a show in which he's a judge or something. Something came across my
Is it The Voice?
Netflix
Is
or
he
what.
still on The Voice?
I have no idea. No, he like a courtroom judge.
Oh, Snoop has 100 jobs. I don't know. He must have more hours in the day than we do.
Yeah, like that kid, what's his name? Ryan Seacrest, right? Be flying coast to coast to do all that other stuff.
Tom Joyner. Tom Joyner used to do
Tom
it
Joyner's
too. He
another
used to
one.
fly from Texas to Chicago every day. The fly job, it's possible. So, and last but not least, tonight is the Beaver full moon. It's the largest and brightest super moon of the year. So if you want to catch it, it's happening tonight. So the Beaver full moon.
The wonders of creation.
I love it.
Amazing. Michael Carter says, "I love how Mackenzie Scott is trolling Jeff Bezos as he cozying up to Trump and the deplorables." Absolutely. She, again, can't say enough about the statements she's been making. With her, somebody said, and this is something, Niel, somebody said, allyship and reparations. That's what this is, a one person reparations crusade, huh? Love it.
I love it. The evolution of reparations is no longer 40 acres and a mule. It has been redefined. And I mean, I think it's good because
it's
time
good.
changed.
Education, right?
Yeah, education.
She's given this to education. So there you have it. We as somebody in the chat, we will never hate on Mackenzie Scott. She is more. She's sitting at the cookout, and she's having ribs.
Okay. I mean, and let's just say to Chi, she don't need another Jeff Bezos. She got her own money. She put in her work with him. She don't need him.
There you go. There you go. And at 300 million plus just in the last few weeks, that's more than reparations. That's a statement and a half. Thank you so much, Mackenzie Scott. And this date in Black history. On this date in 1901, two brothers, James Weldon Johnson and John Rosamond Johnson, compose what has become known as the Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing. It is one of the most respected, honored, and revered songs in Black culture.
Mm. My favorite lyric or line in it is lest we forget.
Mm.
I think it's in the second or third, but lest we forget. I always like to use that hashtag when we think of our ancestors and those who have gone before us that have done great works, big and small, known and unknown. But lest we forget why we're here. So yeah. And lest we forget, on this day in 1968, Shirley Chisholm became the first African American woman elected to U.S. Congress. And some of her coined phrases are, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. And of course, unbought and unbossed. And said another one is, you don't make progress by standing on the sidelines, whimpering and complaining. You make progress by implementing ideas.
Listen, one of the things I always think about, other than that, those are foremost when you think of Shirley Chisholm, is Bismarck's line. He said, Reagan is depressed, but I voted for Shirley Chisholm.
Hey, I love it. I love it.
All time. Nobody beats the Biz.
Nobody beats the Biz, okay? And if you want to know more about Shirley Chisholm, there is a great Netflix movie starring Regina King. I think it's called Unbought and Unbossed on Netflix. You can go check it out and see. The story only focuses on when she ran for president. And so you can see the Negroes that didn't support her and the Black folks that did.
Oh boy, she went there. She said the Negroes that didn't support her and the Black folks that did. I like that. All right, our Black-owned newspaper of the day is Our Weekly. Our Weekly LA was formed in 2004 to provide in-depth coverages on issues pertaining to African Americans living and working in Los Angeles County. With a readership of more than 200,000 weekly, the scope of the publication is to provide broad-based, relevant, and timely coverage to include local, state, national, political, and community news. Our Weekly, our Black-owned paper of the day.
And there you have it. And for the latest in Black news and all of the election results that happened yesterday, head on over to blackpressusa.com.
Thanks for joining us, folks. It's been quite today. So we will see you tomorrow.